ZESCO. Thank you. Unless honorable colleagues, any question? Honorable Mwila. Thank you. So through the PS, Mr. Bernard, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Of course, in the contract, it says that the project manager should certify. But our understanding when we engaged ZESCO with a view of them supervising the works was that there were going to be reports coming from ZESCO, which were going to be the basis for us to sign off the payments to the contractor. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mfarari.
Maybe now, may we know who has been, I think that the question we have asked this question I think several times. We have asked who has been certifying the works, who has been approving these interim certificates. ZESCO, unless otherwise, earlier on they said they were not mandated to do the certification of the works. Maybe we could be guided to understand who has been certifying these works that have been coming from Shikaveta. Further, Chair, I think earlier on I had also requested for a concept note, and I repeat, concept note, not appraisal, sir. A concept note. That's what we wanted. We wanted to look at your concept note over this project so that we understand what this project was all about. Maybe it would have helped us. We are not looking for an appraisal. I know the PS said maybe we are looking for an appraisal. We are not looking for an appraisal. We are not comparing anything. We are looking at the objectives of this project. What was it? What was in it? The methodologies that were supposed to be used in order to achieve a certain or intended goal. That's what we are looking for, not an appraisal.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed and answer that question, and also you wanted to make submissions, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to elaborate further on the part of who was certifying the works. From what I have gathered is that ZESCO would produce a report based on a milestone as agreed upon, and they would submit it to the bank, and initially it was the bank that was paying. Huh? Yes. So that is that is how the payments were being made. And now that ZESCO said they would no longer do that, the question was, so who's going to produce the report which would be the basis of making the payment if they say they will no longer do that? And maybe if there's anything that needs to be added, Bernard will continue with that, because that happened even at his time. Then on the issue of the appraisal, I think the bank had a way of coming up with the projects in relation to what was going to happen. Take, for instance, a project has to be conceived or is being done. It was not a concept note per se, but an appraisal report is what was designed, and the bank would base the funding on what is given as an appraisal report. So talking of a concept, yes, we were all not there, but we have not come across any document like that in the ministry, but an appraisal report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mwamba. And PS, I hope we've contacted BestMed to come, whoever is at their office, to come and present the company, and Sealand also. Maybe you can connect them on that thing of virtual so that they can speak for themselves. Honorable Mfaradi, you have a follow-up question.
Yes, Chair. I'm getting concerned. Somehow, an appraisal based on what? If the bank was just appraising itself, based on, I don't know. Maybe we are mixing the two things. A concept note is a proposal. And that's a proposal that you base if you want to get money. Now, if this bank came to the ministry, and the ministry there was no concept note, or a proposal in short, maybe let's say a proposal, a project proposal for this project to take off. Now, if the ministry is saying they have just been having appraisal, an appraisal, I don't know, an appraisal is an appraisal is an act that you carry to compare two things so that you can be able to see whether you are doing very well or you are not doing very well. In this case, this project had not even taken off. And then there is no, the ministry don't have the budget for this thing, they don't have the objectives, they don't have, and it's in the concept not where you find these objectives, where you find all these things, and that's what we are looking for, your budget. So, but further, Chair, if the ministry was, the ZESCO is not approving the interim certificates, what yardstick is the project manager using to approve these interim certificates and make payments? Based on what?
Thank you, Honorable Mamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, from the controlling officer's submissions, this is probably the second submission that is somehow indirectly saying that ZESCO is distancing itself from this particular contract. Can we please get clarification on that matter? Why is ZESCO trying to distance itself from the contract? And I'm sure much earlier you also heard that they have told the ministry to engage a consultant. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. The one representing the director planning from ZESCO, Mr. Malama, Walia. If I'm correct, Mr. Walia, we want to find out if there is this aforesaid contract which the ministry engaged you. There was back and forth. ZESCO came up with the BOQ and all that. What were the terms of reference, as it were, between yourselves and the ministry? What was ZESCO's role in this project? And we want to ascertain that because towards the end of this project, ZESCO has backed off to say the Ministry of Agriculture, you're on your own. You need to go and look for a consultant. And this project is at the verge of collapsing. As we speak, the contractor has demobilized partially. And these funds used in this project, they are public funds. And it's a loan, which us as Zambians will pay one way or another. So I want to find out if you've seen that document, just to put you to speed. Your officers or your engineers, the submission they were making before this honorable committee were not befitting, and we're not happy. That's why we had to call for a senior person to come and help us untangle this issue. Then we can make an informed decision or recommendation on behalf of the Zambian people. So, Director Planning, I want you to proceed and just in summary highlight those few issues, then we'll make conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair and committee. Us in ZESCO are in the business of course, supplying and distributing power to customers, and we're also into doing projects. This Shikabeta project is one of the power supplies to the farm blocks. The way we operate, Chair, is that normally people come to us, they apply for power, and we do give them a quotation which is based on labor, material, and transport. And the labor also entails the supervision of a project. That's one way of doing it. Now, because of the scales of work that need to be done, when people want to fast track projects, they at times come to us and say they want to do the project themselves. So in this case, the ministry did right to ourselves, we are all government, that they wanted to embark on this project and they wanted to engage a contractor. And this is how this was done. In such instances, what we do is, of course, we are the experts and the ministry is government. We do go ahead and scope the project so that we know what's in the project. And then we come up with the BOQs and stuff like that, and that with the schedules and a project or a tender document is drawn. Wouldn't speak to the fact that ZESCO participated in the drawing of a contract document. They could have, because we are the experts anyway. this was tendered out, a contract was signed. But Chair, the contract is between the ministry and the contractor. There are two parties to a contract. It's the ministry and the contract. And when these issues of certifying payments, they come up and stuff like that, yes, ZESCO is in the loop, but the person to, like as stated in the contract, the person to do the final certification is the project manager. ZESCO, yes, can be consulted to verify what's on the payment, but the ultimate person is the project manager. I think I would like to sum it like that unless there are queries.
Thank you, Director Planning. Honorable colleagues, that's a submission from ZESCO. Ministry, back to you. Were you not aware that these are the parameters you agreed with ZESCO so that we make progress? And I think if those were the perimeters, then the ministry should start averting some of these issues so that we can quickly make progress. As we speak, the contract is expired. It's not actually feasible that it can be completed this year. I don't know to that effect. I think what I'm picking up, there's a lot of gaps in terms of managing this project, I think, from the ministry's perspective. So, honorable colleagues, if you have any questions, clarifications, so that we close this matter. Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. With the contract that we have and the submission from the director, I think it's very clear that the ultimate say in terms of validating the IPC is the project manager. But of course, he's not an expert. And I want to believe that in him going ahead, he has to make consultations with the people that understand and who scoped, who is ZESCO in this case. So what I want to find out is that with that letter which the controlling officer mentioned earlier, that ZESCO put it very clear in writing that we are not responsible for certifying. We have not seen the full contents of that letter, but I want to find out, Chairperson, is ZESCO also saying they are not even going to collaborate with input or advising the project manager whether the works that are contained on the IPC have indeed been done and validated or not? Are they completely washing their hands with withdrawing even the technical input to the project manager, so that as he puts his signature according to the contract, he has informed knowledge from ZESCO? Is ZESCO saying, oh, please, leave us out, deal with this business, we are out? I submit.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, ZESCO Director Planning, there's that question from Honorable Mwila. Please clarify so that even us, as we make recommendations, we know where we're basing these recommendations. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Mwila. Far from the truth, ZESCO is not washing its hands. A consultant is just an expert who can guide the project manager. And ZESCO is one of the consultants. What needs to happen if ZESCO are being contracted? We just need to formalize the relationship or just get an understanding with the ministry, and that's what it is. Otherwise, ultimately, this network will be connected onto our network. And it's in our best interest that we make sure that it's done properly. So we are not washing our hands, and it's in our interest that it's done properly. Chair.
Thank you. PS, you've heard the submission. Honorable Ferrari can proceed.
Chair, I asked the question, who has been certifying the interim certificates?
Thank you. PS, I don't know if it's PS Technical Administration. You can proceed. There's that, I think for me it's a positive submission from ZESCO. And you need to formalize. You need to sit and agree so that it's in black and white. That's what they're basically saying. They're not washing their hands. And please, we implore you that you go and sit and so that we can quickly start running with this program. So you can proceed with Honorable Mfarari's question.
Thank you, Chair. It's good that Mr. Bwalia has answered in that way, and maybe I would request them to withdraw the letter they sent to the ministry which was seemingly saying that they would no longer be responsible, because in their earlier letter to the ministry, they clearly stated that once works are awarded, ZESCO pledges to work with the contractor to ensure that the works are executed to the acceptable standards. Then that is what they have been doing. They've been issuing reports that have led to payments being done. This was signed by yours faithfully, ZESCO, Victor B. Mapani, Managing Director. Thank you, Chair.
The question for Honorable Mfarari about the...
To answer Honorable Mfarari, the IPCs were being certified by ZESCO because we don't have engineers that certify. And then the bank was paying based on that. So they must just continue so that we complete the project. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chair. If I heard correctly, the current contract sum is 7,048,000. Then there is also now a variation of about 490,000 kwacha. So what happens to that variation? I submit, Chair.
PS, you've indicated in your submission, which is before us, that now you have the money. You've secured the money. If that's the position, please kindly confirm to this committee that you've secured the money, and also the issue of the variation, which is a 490, so that we can close this discussion and you can proceed to quickly reinstate the contract. You have the money, pay the contractor, let him move back on site, complete the project with help of ZESCO in terms of technical know-how and all that. Then we can close this chapter. Even as we go there to do a physical verification with the Auditor General and yourselves as a client and the ZESCO, and we find the contractor on site, we're able to say, yes, works have started moving. Please confirm if you have the funds and that provision of a variation.
Chair, now we have challenges here, and time is of great importance. We are where we are now, this hour, because of ZESCO, who are denying knowledge about the whole project properly, and they were telling us they are not involved in these certifications. And there were two interim certificates that were pending at one stage, and they could not be paid because they could not be certified. And the question was asked, why are you failing to certify the works? In their own admission, they are saying, yes, they are actually responsible to ensure that the right things are done. But why go around circles? And yesterday, Chair, he said, can we have people who make decisions to sit, instead of bringing people who are neither here nor there? And look, we have wasted the whole time coming here to come and sit, when they could have, this is not a fair thing, you know. We have a lot of things to do, Chair. I think then let DESCO reverse what they told us in the morning.
Thank you. And before we proceed, I'll ask is it Mr. Mwenya? Mr. Mwenya? Mr. Mwenya from ZESCO, I want you to withdraw your earlier submission for the morning, so that it can be put on record that you have withdrawn what you said, and we'll pick now what your director planning is saying as the way to move forward. Then PS will come in now to answer the issue of the funding. So Mr. Mwenya, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The statement has been withdrawn.
Thank you. Progress. PS, can you proceed and answer that question about the funding that you have, the 7 million or what, I don't know, and also the variation? We want you to put you on record. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the funding, we have secured the money, and then in terms of the expired contract, we will need to engage them by way of recontracting them by direct bidding them, so that they can complete the remaining works. And then in terms of the variation, it will be factored in the new contract. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable colleagues. I think we are we are at peace. And PS, both the PSCs, please, we implore you that even as you go back to the ministry, please go and clean up pertaining this project. It's not only this Shikabeta issue, there's a cassava issue, a cassava plant you are running with IDC. IDC was here, and they were telling us all these nice things, which we want to go and see in Chitambo. That yes, what they're telling us is what's on the ground, because we want to ensure that there's accountability. And there's the issue of distribution of a lot of these equipment which were bought through the same project, which are lying around the country. Some are being cannibalized, or some are being misused, as it were. And some, imagine a tractor being stuck for a year in the mud until our owner, the vice president, passes there and sees it. So these are some of the, I think we need to guard government property with utmost care, as it were. So with that said, ZESCO, you are dismissed. We thank you most sincerely, Director Planning and your team, for coming, and we only hope that you sit quickly with the ministry, and also with ministry, sit quickly with ZESCO, agree, you have money, pay your outstanding dues, recontract, start moving on site, so that by the time we are sitting with Auditor General to plan, we find the contractor is on site and there's progress, then the committee will be happy to move forward. So we thank you so much, Director, and your team. You are dismissed, and you are free to go. And the contractor, thank you so much for coming and for your input. We are grateful. Your contract is here. You can pick your contract as you. Then Auditor General will need a copy. So I don't know if you are going to photocopy. So thank you so much. Honorable colleagues, will proceed on paragraph 35, where we ended. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. ZPPA, DG, are welcome. DG, we are dealing with paragraph 35 on shortlisted companies for the delivery of urea and compound D fertilizer, which was floated by the Ministry of Agriculture, which they later cancelled after recommending for award 6 bidders to be the best evaluated bidders, issued on the 19th of August 2022. The issues which are emanating from this cancellation have been highlighted in your letter to the ministry, dated, I don't know if it's September, I can't even see the dates here, September 2022, but it's not very clear. And in your letter, DG, which you signed yourself, it's got 3 grounds on which there was advice that this tender be cancelled. From your office, we asked the gentleman who came from your office to provide us letters which were written by these 2 complainants, BestMed, and I hope BestMed has been contacted, PS that are here, and Sealand. And we've been told by the ministry that Sealand has no offices in Zambia. We don't know how they even managed to write to you. So we wanted your input from your office. And the other issue, I think, pertaining on B and C, introduction of categorization of bidders as either local or citizen bidders at evaluation stage, contrary to section 60, subsection 5 of Public Procurement Act. There's a bit of a conflict which wanted you to clarify, and I think that question came from Honorable Muila in his own way. Maybe he's going to rephrase so that maybe we can get it clearly. Mine was correction of arithmetic errors was not transparent, as bidders were not provided with breakdown of arithmetic corrections to their bids, contrary to section 7 of the Public Procurement Regulation. The procurement from Ministry of Agriculture told us that they gave all the bidders these correction of arithmetic errors, and they were in receipt. So we don't know why they came back and complained that they were not provided with the aforesaid arithmetic errors corrections. And we've since asked the Ministry of Agriculture to photocopy all those letters which they wrote to these bidders. And also, DG, you want you to ascertain who has the mandate to receive the arithmetic errors. Is it the shortlisted, like the 10, or everybody who reaches commercial in terms of evaluation? I think this is what we wanted you to help us, and I'll ask Honorable Mwila just to comment on B, which he asked so that we can be brought to speed. I was giving you a background so that at least you understand where these things are emanating from. Honorable Mwila, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. ZPPA, DG specifically. My question actually is anchored on B, but B also relates with A. There was a directive from ZPPA to the ministry to cancel the initial contract, and the basis for the cancellation highlighted on this report. A and B are my concerns, because this tender was done through open national bidding, and according to the Act Section 39, open national bidding is limited to citizen bidders. It is understood, I think, that the tender was out. It's an open national bidding. Everyone, probably some of them among the 70, ignorant that this open national bidding is actually limited to citizen bidders. 70 of those applications, probably some of them did not even read that they were not actually eligible, but they applied anyway. And from this finding, as the Auditor General reported, the evaluation committee had to categorize among the 70 who was a citizen bidder and who was a a local bidder. But because this was a national bidding, the law says it's limited to citizen bidders. And I think the evaluation committee rightly had to categorize between the two. But it appears they were penalized. This was one of the reasons that the tender was cancelled, because they started categorizing without getting authority from ZPPA, when the law is very clear that they need to restrict this to citizen bidders. So I want to find out from ZPPA, why was the ministry directed to cancel? Because they went ahead to categorize between citizen bidders and local bidders, which the law required them to do. Maybe you can elaborate why this was the basis for cancellation. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. And also, DG, as you proceed to put us to speed, maybe we'd want to see the letters which were written by the two bidders, Bestmed and Sealand, that can be circulated so that members can benefit, and also have in mind that there were those letters which were circulated to you, or which were written to you by the aforesaid bidders. Thank you so much. DG, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, the committee. Indeed, this tender was conducted through open national bidding, and in line with Section 39(2), open national bidding is supposed to restrict bidders to only citizen bidders. And if you go to our Act, and the definitions of a citizen bidder, it clearly says this, and I'll read. It says a citizen bidder, it defines who a citizen bidder and the local bidder is. I'll start with a citizen bidder has the meaning assigned to the word in the Constitution. Citizen bidder or citizen supplier means, in the case of an individual, a bidder or supplier who is a citizen. A firm or company, whether corporate or unincorporated, a firm, a company wholly owned by a citizen, and C, a body of persons
wholly comprising of citizens. So it's very clear about who a citizen is. And when we go to section 39(2) of the Public Procurement Act, again it's very clear on who a citizen bidder is. So when we base it on section 39(2), which we quoted in our letters to Ministry of Agriculture, it says participation in open national bidding shall be limited to citizen bidders, and in the absence of successful citizen bids, to local bidders. So this section 39 has a 3-tier. The first, open national bidding, that is why it's even said national. So it was limited to national, to citizen bidders only. It could only be escalated or cascaded to local bidders if they failed. If the citizen bidders failed according to section 39(2). And it further goes to say, under section 39(3), a local citizen awarded a procurement contract in accordance with subsection 2 shall partner with a citizen supplier. So that is one of the reasons why this tender, when the bidders appealed to the authority, this is one of the irregularities that we actually found out. Then regarding the categorization, I think the section speaks for itself, because it's only when the citizen bidders fail that you go to the local bidders. And the local bidder is also defined in our act. It talks about a local bidder is, okay, let me just go to it. Local bidder or supplier, this is in the definition, means a non-citizen bidder or supplier who is registered to undertake business activities in the Republic in accordance with the relevant written law. So the two things to mark are that this was an open national tender which was limited to citizen bidder, and according to the eligibility, the local bidders were not eligible to participate in this tender. Then coming to the categorization by Ministry of Agriculture, this is something that they introduced in the tender, where they decided to say priority will be given to citizen bidder. It was not in the solicitation document, and they did not seek a waiver in accordance to section 79 of our act, to say they want to include both the citizen and local bidders. So that is where the irregularities came in. So if they wanted to include local bidders, they should have sought for a deviation from ZPPA for them to include both bidders, but they didn't. So those are some of the irregularities that arose in this tender. So this amounted to them introducing a new criteria in the solicitation document, and it meant they were not being transparent, because other local bidders who knew that it was a national open bid, they did not participate. So so I think for now that is what I can submit.
Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. So, for the avoidance of doubt, Chair, I want to hear from ZPPA. We are moving from 70 who applied, 10 shortlisted, 6 bidders eventually awarded as best evaluated bidder. So, I'm now narrowing down to these 6. Are any of these 6 failed the test of citizen bidders? Among the 6, were there non-citizen bidders awarded as best evaluated? I submit.
Thank you. Did you proceed with that? And also my question which I asked, which is bordering on C. You can proceed, DG, through the PS. With that question from Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this being an open national bid, every citizen bidder was eligible to participate in this tender. So that is why we had that number of 70. But this 70 included even local bidders. Ideally, it should have just been restricted to citizen bidders. So even if there were 70 or 90, the criteria was that it should have been restricted to only citizen bidders. So that is where we have the 70 arising from. Because it's an open bid, everyone is free to participate as long as they meet the criteria set out in Section 89, which is on eligibility of the Public Procurement Act. Then I think we are aware that when a bid, when the tenders are floated, there's a closing time and opening time, and they are actually evaluated according to the criteria that is set out in the solicitation document. So when they did the evaluation, which starts with a preliminary evaluation, then you go to the technical. The preliminary, have they maybe met the taxes? Have they met the social security as put in Section 89 of the Public Procurement Act? Then there could also be other criteria which they may have put as a procuring entity under Section 90 on the qualification of the bidders. So that is dependent on what the PE wants to say. The PE is a public procuring entity in this case. And as you are evaluating, they are being knocked out. Have they met this criteria? They knock off. So, for example, at preliminary, in case they've not met those criteria, they should have actually, this is where they could have even knocked out the citizen bidders because they were not eligible. Then they went on to the technical. Have they met the specifications that they wanted for urea and compound D?
DG, just 1 minute. Yes, Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, DG. I think that process we understand. In simple terms, I want to know the 6 best evaluated bidders. Were all the 6 on the citizen bidders, according to what you found out, or there was a mixture of citizen bidders and the local bidders? That's all I just want to know.
Thank you.
The process of what stage?
Thank you.
The 6, were they all citizen bidders, or some among the 6 were not citizen bidders?
Thank you. DG are guided. That's what I wanted to. I was almost interrupting you. I think there is that specific question which Honorable Miller has asked. You can proceed and answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the guidance, Honorable Mwila. I think this is where the problem lay, because whether the 6 were citizen or local bidders, the fact is that the ministry allowed to evaluate this. So among the people who appealed, we know that those were local bidders.
Honorable Mwila, then Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, the question is not answered. The basis, the directive to council was under A and B. It appears, there was that, what the people were saying, they introduced a new category. But for me, what I'm saying is it was not a new category, because the tender from the start, it was clear, it was open national bidding. So the question still stands. ZPPA, you reviewed the whole process as you have been explaining. You finally looked at the 6 that were shortlisted as the best evaluated. Among the 6, were there any who failed the test of citizen bidders? That's as simple as that. According to your knowledge and what led to your cancellation, did you find that 1, 2, 3, or all of them were not citizen bidders, hence the cancellation?
Thank you. And Minister of Agriculture, please, can we have the 6 names? If you have, give us the 6 names from the 10, so that for benefit of doubt, we can also tell the DG that these are the 6. Maybe you can ascertain which ones were citizen bidders and were not eligible. Honorable Mfarari, you can proceed. Honorable Mfarari, you are the...
Yes, Chair. Though we would have loved maybe to hear from ZPPA to answer the question that has been posed by Honorable Mwila. But for me, maybe my question to the ZPPA would be, out of the 10 shortlisted, they shortlisted 10? Out of the shortlisted 10 that the ministry did, was there a foreign company or something, a company that was not able to qualify according to the criterion that was set?
Thank you. ZPPA can proceed with those two questions. Ministry, can we have the best evaluated 6 as we proceed? The ZPPA DG can proceed.
Okay. From this, the 10, there was also some local bidders, including the 6.
Honorable, proceed. Yeah.
Chair, then in this case, we will be forced to understand, maybe from ZPPA's position, so that we know which companies were local bidders and which ones were citizen bidders, because it looks from what we have, I don't know, we needed to be guided because they could have more detail than what we are seeing here. So if they have more detail of than what we are seeing, could they now explain to us which of those companies were not qualifying so that we can close this chapter?
Thank you. Agriculture, we're waiting. DG, there's that question, follow-up question from Honorable Mfarari. And also DG be categorical, also bring to speak to this committee who has the right to object the decision of the tender. Is it even those who are not responsive to the tender? If you look at them, maybe they failed on preliminary, they didn't have a tax clearance, they can still object, as it were, to the tender to say this was not done right, so that we just have clarity, and then also to score us on who is a local bidder and the citizen bidder, as it were. And also from your ministry's perspective, especially procurement, you understand that your Bible is Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020. Tell us how you don't understand between a local and a citizen bidder vis-a-vis this open national bidding. I think that's for agriculture. Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling officer, the 2 unsuccessful bidders appealed to ZPPA. Is it possible that we could be furnished with information as to why these 2 companies were not successful? I submit.
Thank you. DG, you can proceed with those clarifications, I think, which you've requested for, and agriculture, you come in to answer the issue which we've raised in terms of who's a local or citizen bidder. You can proceed, DG.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and the committee. When a tender is open, all the bidders who participated, they are supposed to be debriefed on why they failed. So the ministry or whoever the procuring entity is supposed to tell them why they failed. So that is where it doesn't matter whether they did not go through, because they need to know why they did not go through to the last stage, so to say. So in this case, the bidders who participated should have been debriefed, and that is where we even have an appeal from the people who participated in this tender, because the they were not satisfied with the debrief that was given to them by the ministry. And that's when they lodged these appeals to us.
There's Honorable Mfarari's question on local and on the list, because what we are seeing here, maybe you can help us to understand. Then I want the ministry to come in. The submission, Mr. Madima, you made earlier, especially on C, to say this, ZPP is saying they were not provided with the breakdown. And I want you to bring that evidence before ZPPA to tell them that we provided this according to your submission. And when you tell us that you provided that to your would-be bidders or contractors, because we want to understand why ZPPA sustained and cancelled the contract. If your ministry, you are claiming that you provided according to the stipulated guidelines from Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020. So you can proceed, Head of Procurement, on C. You've heard what the ZPPA DG has said, and your earlier statement that you had provided to every bidder who had reached that special arithmetic or commercial stage. So what is it that you were not certified? Because you provided, and as we speak, we are waiting for evidence from your office to show us those letters which you had provided to those bidders. And then PS, I don't know how far you've gone with BestMed. Have you communicated to them?
There's been we have tried to communicate. The phone is going unanswered. So I asked my secretary to continue trying to call them.
And these are your suppliers, you can be traced. The Head of Procurement, you can proceed with the app. Yes, we'll get back to that. Head of Procurement, I want your submission you made earlier. You can make it now.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. In terms of point C, in our response, point C in the document where there was an issue to do with arithmetical errors. Like my submission in the morning, we wrote to those that had gone to the financial evaluation stage whose bids had arithmetical errors. And when we wrote to them, one of them was a joint venture between BestMed Services and African Fertilizer. When we wrote to them, they responded showing us that they were not agreeable to what the clarification we had made. Then we wrote back to them that after that submission, a re-verification was done, and thereafter they sent us another letter to accept those corrections. The letters are available, Chair.
Please proceed to bring the letters. And DG, you've gotten what the Head of Procurement is submitting, and the BestMed did right to confirm and agree that yes, after verifying that they were accepting. And then they came back to ZPP and wrote again to say they were still not satisfied. That's why I wanted them here to come and explain for themselves why they were pulling the government backwards when we were supposed to make some progress. And the issue of Sealand, because there's BestMed and Sealand are near nor there. I don't know why we're even entertaining them to even be one of the people to do the petition to ZPPA that they are not happy. I think PS Mbozi, you are aware of the story of Sealand, as it were, on how we labored with Rockcliffe, not to go into detail. And we don't know why the ministry wants to go back to deal with such companies, which have left the ministry with bad standing because of how they conducted themselves as a company. Honorable Mfarari can proceed.
Chair, the documents that are being submitted by the head of procurement quite, they might be quite valid, but my question or concern is, has those documents gone through his controlling officer, who should be able to present those documents here?
Thank you. Maybe PS Technical can comment on that. If you are aware of this and what transpired, you can proceed. As submitted by your head of procurement, you can proceed.
Chair, maybe to be appropriate, if I just have them, then I can submit them.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, Madam Priska. Maybe those documents can be given to the PS and they come back here. So at one PS, Auditor General, let PS have a look and authenticate. Or there's another set. Okay, maybe PS will look at that, then answer the question. Auditor General, you can go ahead and look at the documentation. PS, I'll be waiting for you to answer. There's a response from BaseMed. Then they responded to this. Okay. Thank you. So there's what you wrote. Who's the chairperson of this committee? Given C. Malumba. Is the same one who's retired? Okay, so this letter before us here has got no signature, which you wrote to BaseMed, but BaseMed responded on the 18th. I don't know, Auditor General, just look at the reference of the letters, if it's referred to and if it's the same letter, then we can have a benefit of doubt. So with that said, we get back to ZPPA now. ZPPA, the client who came and petitioned again, had accepted, and the ministry said they wrote to them. So, honorable colleagues, I'm wondering why the same contractor can go and petition, and based on that, it's sustained. I stand to be corrected by ZPPA. We want to make progress. Maybe ZPPA can make comment. No, first PS make comment, then we come to ZPPA about documentation. The question raised by Honorable Mfarari, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Other than the same doubts which the Chair has brought out, I have advised that we need to, maybe if this has to be authentic, we need to submit a signed letter of 17th July. The rest are okay, Chair.
Thank you. ZPPA.
Thank you, Chair. I think maybe just to add on the point C, of course, when you go to section 100, subsection 4, it tells you on the regulations that the PE is supposed to actually, apart from the transparency which is under regulation 7, they are supposed to communicate to the PE in writing and tell them what the problem is, or the arithmetic error was. When we got the appeal, the appellant indicated that okay, maybe let me just read this. On the letter dated 14th September to the ministry, I believe the honorable members have it on page 8.
I don't know, I haven't checked if it's this one, but it's relation to
ZPPA?
Thank you, Chair. It's just that there are two letters which we sent to the ministry, one dated 9th September and the other one which had the details dated 14th September. So in the one dated 14th September on page 8, that's why I was asking whether the honorable members have the...
No, we don't have the letter. Maybe it can be provided and photocopied. Neither maybe the ministry. Do you have that letter that the DG is reading? Do you have it? So DG, the ministry has doesn't have that letter.
Okay, we had actually written to them on 9th September that we'll give them a detailed letter. So, and we did. So, I don't know how we proceed. Can I read and then we photocopy it, or it can be photocopied then I read?
Maybe let it be photocopied, then you can read it after everybody has sight of it. And also the ministry needs to acknowledge that yes, they had received that letter. DG, with that said, let me read for you the letter which was written, honorable colleagues, I think from Best Met. Clarification on tender number MOA/FISIP/G/01/2022 for supply and delivery of urea and decompound fertilizer 2022-23 farming season. We acknowledge with thanks receipt of your letter of even date in relation to the above captioned matter. We advise that by no means was your letter of the 18th July 2022 intended to dispute your corrections, but to clarify our bid. We would have been grateful if we were furnished with arithmetic errors as provided for in section 100, subsection 3 as read with section 100, subsection 4 of the Public Procurement Act, regulation number 22, for ease of our response to your letter. We advise that we accept your corrections. Yours truly, Best Made. So in this letter, they are accepting that they've accepted your corrections, if I'm correct, PS. So that's why I'm asking, make me understand, maybe I'm missing a point. Why would the same person who's accepted and written to you to again go and have an appeal to have your tender cancelled? Honorable Mfarari, can proceed.
Could we just have a look, may I just have a look at that letter that came from Best Mate?
Thank you. I think there's the same letter there.
Oh, it's the same letter here?
Yes. So, DG, wow, I think that we are waiting for the other letter which you said you have a detailed letter to them. And also,
We have it here.
you have it?
We have it, I think it may not just have it. The one dated 14th September 2022.
Please use the mic. Yes, can proceed, Pierre.
14th September?
Yes.
Yes, we have it. We received it on the 15th, yes. We have it, yes.
Okay, so we can, members can go through that later. And DG, we just want this clarification about the same person I've just read. Maybe we stand to be guided. Honorable Mfarari.
I'm concerned. You know, I don't know what this. While we appreciate the letter that came from Mr. Chance Mwansa, this letter does not even show that it went through the right channel. No stamp on it, no. Who did they give it to? Because all correspondences that the ministry should go through a certain criterion. Yes, they must be addressed to the PS, and the PS will stamp that she has received. So now these letters which just come like this, they tend to give us a bit of a doubt whether even this were Best Made wrote back to complain to the whatever or whatever. So they needed to have, they should know the procedure. It might be correct, but they should know the procedure. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you have a comment?
Yes, Chair. For some reason, I don't know, maybe that's a practice. During the evaluation, the chairperson of the evaluation committee does write the letters seeking clarification to the various participants in the tender, and the responses are addressed to the chairperson, and this was the case in this one.
So if that's result authentication from the controlling officer, technical, DG ZPPA, I think the question comes back to you, maybe to just clarify so that we can make progress. This person accepted, and they come to you and say they were not provided with the aforesaid information. Did you do a verification ZPPA with the ministry that they had provided such requirements to the aforesaid bidder who came to complain to you before writing that letter that the aforesaid tender should be cancelled? Why DG were laboring? Because we are looking at time. When the tender was cancelled to the time the tender was awarded to the time the fertilizer was started to be distributed, there's exchange difference and government loses colossal sums of money. If not, $52 million was lost, according to our quick arithmetic calculations, if my memory serves me well, within the same period. Because when the tender was done, there was a different price earlier, then the second tender, different price, as fertilizer moves by time. That's why we are laboring to understand so that such an occurrence should not happen in the near future. DG ZPPA, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think, I don't know whether I should belabor the point, but the issue is that even the bidder, best made in this case, did allude to the fact that when they were notified of the error, there was one step which was missed by the ministry, which is to confirm that they communicate the arithmetic error and in writing, and the bidder accepts. And this is what we put in our letter dated 14th to say the evaluation committee did not highlight the arithmetic error, nor request the Best Made Limited African Fertilizer to accept the changes made by the committee, because that is according to regulation 104, which they missed. Then coming to the issue of why Best Made was allowed to appeal to the authority when they were not the best evaluated bidder.
Maybe just before we proceed, DG, I want us to move together. Section 100, subsection 3, the one you are quoting, it 4. Honorable Mwira, you have it there? Just read it for us, because I want to clarify a point. Ministry, when you wrote this letter on the 17th of July, you wrote to the bidders about this arithmetic error for them to respond and accept, isn't it? And they wrote back and accepted that they did not dispute, but that they were agreeing. Is that the position? Head of Procurement through the PS, I want you to clarify that point. Is that the position? Then Honorable Mwamba, you come in. Head of Procurement through PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members. Through the PS, when the initial letter was written to them, to Best Made, they responded countering the corrections that were made. So after they countered those corrections, the evaluation committee re-verified, and that was the letter that was written back to the bidder to say, after you responded, the evaluation committee re-verified, and they still stand with the corrected arithmetical errors. And that's how now they wrote back to accept. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mwila, read the act, and Honorable Mamba, you come through.
Thank you, Chair. So Section 100, subsection 4, it actually comes under Part 10, appeals, appeal of decision by procuring entity. So subsection 4 says that unless an application is dismissed or resolved by mutual agreement between the applicant and the procuring entity, the authority shall, A, on receipt of the application, institute an investigation, B, ensure that no contract award is made prior to the resolution of the application, and C, issue a written decision within 10 working days after the submission of the application. That's it.
So I just quickly want to understand, with what the ministry did, DG, they were still bleaching that section 100 subsection 3 or section 100 subsection 4 with those communications, and prior now where the aforesaid bidder agreed that they were correct and they were satisfied, in short, that they were correct. DG, you can proceed.
Chair, actually it's regulation 104.
Oh, not the section. Okay, what I was reading is from the act itself, not the regulation.
Whereas now, just help us, DG, I think the same regulation 100, with what transpired, what is the position? They were still in bleach, warranting to uphold that appeal by Best Made and African Fertilizer, as it were. That's what we want to understand, then we can make progress.
Thank you, Chair. In this case, regulation 104, regulation 100, subsection 4, when they provide, their contention was that they did not provide the details, and even the letter that the head procurement has read to us, it shows that they said even if they have accepted, they were not satisfied. So they are supposed to actually give them the details of how they came up with that arithmetic error, a breakdown, so to say, so that even as they are getting it, they know, and they are accepting, they know that it is emanating from here. And this is what was missing, and even when Best Made came to do an appeal, this is one of the issues that they raised. I submit.
Maybe Auditor General come in and also clarify. I'm still a bit behind on that. Ministry, just take note, and also we want you to tell us if you did not provide the actual breakdowns or whatever it is that you needed to provide, because we want, while we are doing, we want to save Zambian money. And we are going to save it moving forward. We need to save the money. The much needed resources, we will save them. And that's why we are here as a committee. We want to ensure that we extinguish this PS and come to the bottom of it. That I can assure you. The Auditor General can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The first letter was written on the 17th. For clarification, which was written to the Managing Director for Best Made. And on the 18th, the Best Made responded, and in their response they said, we wish to state that the corrected bid price per lot as stated in your clarification letter to us is incorrect. That was on the 18th. Then on the 19th, they wrote now back to the ministry saying that they have accepted the corrections. So now I don't know, Chair, and your committee, with the wisdom of your committee, I'm really also taken aback, because the truth of the matter is that the bid was corrected and the corrections were clarified and they were accepted.
Honorable Mwamba, that is where I have a bone of contention, because they disputed, then they, after correction, they were provided with the information, then the DG, they accepted. But why didn't they still stand on the same position that they have not provided adequate information? Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, it is unregrettable that having to look at those letters, to be honest, I don't even know why the committee is entertaining the letters. The letters look like an afterthought after being asked for them. There is no authenticity whatsoever. I'm sure each and every person sitting in this committee has seen what a letter and correspondence from a ministry to any other person, what it looks like, the stamps of receipt, even to the other companies as well. But just bringing forth letters wherever they've come from should not be entertained in this committee, Chairperson. I seek your indulgence.
Thank you. Honorable Lumai, you have some submission?
Just in addition, Mr. Chairman, these documents were written on the same day, same date. Maybe you didn't check the dates?
The dates are different. The 17th written, there's a reply 18th, then there's 19th. I think that's why we needed clarification of the PS. I think the issue for me, which is which we need to authenticate, and which I think that's why Honorable Mfarai raised an issue, which Honorable Mwamba we've also raised, is a receipt, because that's a ministry we've received, even if it's through whatever chairperson of the committee, but date stamp either from procurement or PS or whoever, agri-business, we've received, signed. Again, those conveyancing, I think the PS are very important, because it brings in also authenticity to say, yes, there was this exchange of letters, as it were. Yes, PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think we do understand your guidance. When the evaluation is taking place, it normally takes place in a state of secrecy, and not so many people should know what is going on. So usually the evaluation committee will come somewhere, and this is why the chairperson of the committee does write, and then the response is received. This is an internal arrangement there. The final decision, once that is done, that is when it is now submitted to the ministry procurement committee for the decision. So yes, we agree, at least even the procurement could have probably done the stamping, but authentication can still be done through the parties that signed those letters, just to indicate to them, did you rewrite these letters? But for us, these are authentic letters, Chair. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mwila.
No, I just want to explain. I think the flow of these letters, yes, these two letters are dated the same, 19th of July, but it appears there was a letter that came from the evaluation committee to BestMed on 17th of July. I believe this period the committee was sitting, so they wrote on the 17th communicating the arithmetic errors, and on the following day, on the 18th, BestMed replied disputing the calculations that the committee is wrong. And then on the 19th, the ministry responded to the letter of the previous day, maintaining the position that the arithmetic corrections from the committee were indeed correct. And there was a communication that if you don't dispute, then you'll be disqualified if you do not agree. So on the same date, on the 19th, I think because of this issue of qualifying or non-qualifying, should they maintain the position, the same day they replied, agreeing that okay, hands down, we agree with your calculations. I think that's the flow.
So, honorable colleagues, I think we need to have a position. DG, I think for me what begs to be answered, or it's an issue of a person, unless honorable colleagues, maybe I'm not understanding. If I've accepted what I've been told, I'll just dispute and leave it, then I go and appeal. Why should I be forced to agree, then I go and appeal? I don't understand, because if I've disputed, I've disputed. And I've got an intention, I'll go and appeal, and my appeal will be heard because I disputed and I did not agree. So, DG, that's the clarification we seek as a committee. Why? Because these correspondences, even them for appealing, did you probably through your systems ask BestMed and African Fertilizer if they had agreed to what the minister has submitted to them pertaining to C or not? Maybe where did you base your decision as ZPPA? Did you can before you proceed, Honorable Mwamba?
Thank you, Chair. It's just a short question. Chair, through you to the controlling officer, does it mean that if you are having a secret procurement team or a private team, procedure should cease because of that? Because when you have a very intimate team, procedure should be heavily adhered to and processes should be followed, because then you give loopholes for anything to come through, because how do you know how genuine or authentic a letter or any form of correspondence in your team? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. That's a question for PS, but Honorable Mwila, I've got a question.
Chair, I think you did ask. I don't know if we have seen the actual appeal letter. It would be good to see it, because based on these two letters and the area correspondence, it may appear that when they were told, if you maintain that these arithmetic errors you did, we worked out were not correct, then you will be disqualified according to the act. So probably they had to accept, but then take the route of appeal. But it would be good to see the contents of the appeal letter. What did they write in the actual letter?
Thank you. ZPPA, there's that issue, and I've also asked a question which we want to understand and make progress. If where you based your decision on ZPPA, did you liaise with the ministry, or there's what mitigation measures did you carry out to clarify before coming up with that decision? Because the aforesaid would-be supplier agreed to what the minister has provided to say, yes, I'm okay now, I agree with your arithmetic corrections, as it were, or errors, whatever they are called, correction of arithmetic errors. Did you can proceed and also answer Honorable Mwila's question. Then PS technical will come in with Honorable Mwamba's question, then we make some progress.
Thank you, Chair. I think one of the things that we do whenever we receive an appeal, we are given each appellant, so to say, a hearing, including the ministry. So whatever these two bidders were aggrieved on, we normally ask them to bring statements to, and then there's a hearing which is conducted. So in this case, a hearing was conducted for both the bidder as well as the procuring entity. And this issue which they appealed on, where they were saying that the arithmetic error, even though we've been guided here that they did accept on this on 19th, it's still their contention is one of the things that they actually their appeal grounds. They said under remedy appeal ground number 2. I don't know whether the members have got
maybe DG, before we proceed, do you have those letters of appeal which they wrote to you? Maybe it will help us as a committee if they can also be photocopies and members can go through. And honorable colleagues, maybe we proceed, and we want BestMed, the appellant, to come. PS, we need to find them, because there is a missing link. They are the ones who appealed, so they should tell us why they should write to agree and accept and then go and appeal. Then DG, we want those letters of appeal from BestMed and Sealand. Sealand, I don't think we should even entertain them because...
Chair, those letters have been submitted. They were the first ones you asked for.
No, that one is your... Oh, there's a letter attached. Okay. Honorable Mwila, there's a letter attached behind... maybe you can just circulate to the members. Honorable Mwila can proceed.
Chair, we've left behind a question which I think I had mentioned about from the 10, even Honorable Mfalari also mentioned, we need to know out of these 10 and then the 6, who are the citizen bidders and who are the local bidders. We have not responded. We have not seen an answer to that question.
Thank you. DG, there's that clarification on the 10, the local bidders and the citizen bidders. And also, I'm getting a very big setback because when the ministries are running these tender documents, are they not aware of those issues of citizen bidders, local bidders, who qualifies? And based on that, if everybody comes and you are disqualified, they'll just remove you. There's not even to entertain you. Why do you need to be entertained if you don't qualify? So we want to understand, I think on the list of the 10 and the 6 who are local and citizen bidders and who qualifies and who don't qualify to this bid. DG, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. From the 6, we had, was based on the notice of best evaluated bidder. We had about 4 who were local bidders. These were Sauma Agro, they were a local bidder. Web Commercial, they were a local bidder. Alpha was a local bidder.
Alpha
was a local bidder.
Just that again, Sauma
Agro.
Sauma Agro. Okay. Web Commercial. Number 3. Alpha Commodities.
Then Agrism.
Number 4, Agrism.
And this is contained in the evaluation report.
So these do not qualify?
Yes, Chair.
No, these are for say tender, they don't qualify. The national open bidding, right? Am I correct?
Yes, Chair, according to section 39(2).
Section?
They were local bidders.
So these are local.
So they were not eligible.
So, Honorable Mfarari?
I've not had, maybe the DG could guide us. I have not looked at the solicitation document that came from the ministry, but just like you are putting it, Chair, is the DG telling us that the ministry didn't know what they were doing? That they could go ahead and mix the two, even when they are the ones who, and unless, I guess that maybe the ministry actually did the solicitation, they prepared the solicitation document themselves, and they knew the target that, they knew what they were, where they wanted to source, that they were looking at citizens. In short, I'm not saying maybe they are looking for a company, but they are looking for citizens to supply. So are we being told that our officers in this ministry didn't know their target group? Because when the target group was citizens, and then there is a mix, then everything goes haywire. Is that what we are being told here?
Did you need to, there's that clarification which we are seeking. Then the remaining 2 on the 6, what are they? You can help us on the 6, what we just have, we can contrast and compare now. You've given us 4 from the 6, or is it from the 10? From the 10. Okay, then from the 6, the ministry was supposed to give us head procurement who are the 6? I think can we have the 6 best evaluated? Yes, we can have that just so that we just guide the DG. So DG, on the 6 evaluated bidders, there are some agro, which you said is a local bidder, doesn't qualify. Stout one, is it a local or a citizen? Citizen? So only stout one qualifies on this list. The stout one is a citizen. Agrism, you said local. Konchak, is it? No, yeah, they're agreeing. Konchak is what, DG? Is it a citizen or local? Citizen? They're local, but head of procurement here now be misleading me. Yes. Honorable Mfarad.
Again, you see, we must use valid documents for us to reach any conclusion that is valid. In the absence of documents that actually clearly indicate the dispute or the challenges that could be there, I think it would be folly for us to say, to reach a conclusion that is valid. Otherwise, I think we'll go around circles here, trying to understand. That document is written by pen. Where are the real documents that speak to the 6 that were picked, so that we could be able to see how they arrived at the 6, and then why the ZPPA went ahead and cancelled the same 6 that was picked by the ministry. So I think maybe, I don't know, but it could also be just another academic exercise.
You are right, Honorable Ferrari. Do you have an evaluation report for the 6 which recommended them in the band of evidence? Is it there? Is it there? I stand to be guided. It's not there? No, the ones on page 6 is now after cancellation of this. This is now this is a direct bidding one. We haven't reached to that one. So if there is no documentation, PS, honorable colleagues, I think we'll leave this, because we have not, BestMed is not here. We need authenticated documents. Probably those award letters, if you did them, come with them and give us that these are the award letters we gave, these are the 6. Then ZPP also, we need you to authenticate according to your act which ones are citizen, and again the question which begs to be answered, Honorable Mfaradi has asked it. PS, does it mean that the ministry didn't know what it was doing when they were floating this tender and getting these local bidders or whatever they are called who do not qualify according to ZPPA Act? PS technical, you can proceed, since this is very technical.
Chair, yes, PS technical. My knowledge of procurement issues is also mostly resident in the knowledge that my head of procurement does, and is my chief advisor. So any documentation which is brought to us and is presented before the MPC, it is taken as the correct document. So if there's any remission, then that could be the issue.
Head of procurement, tell us, your department didn't know what it was doing when you were coming up with that documentation. That you assimilated everybody, you came up with a document, because what this PPA is saying is that what you are doing is wrong. Even the people awarded are wrong because they don't qualify. So I want you to answer. PS has answered very well. His knowledge is based on you as his advisor, just like the director of finance is the advisor to the PS on finances and many other. Tell us what you were doing as a department. If not, I should use the word misleading, because then you are using a wrong documentation, solicitation documentation. Having known your ZPP Act number 8, which is your Bible, tell us.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through the PS, like the DG has mentioned, and the act that has been quoted, I think there was an omission on the evaluation committee, because if we have to categorically follow what section 39 talks about, it meant that only citizen bidders were supposed to have been evaluated. In this case, there was an omission on the evaluation committee.
Before Honorable comes in, aid procurement, it can be an omission. And this thing was not done by evaluation committee. I think, get me right. It is emanating from a tender document, not the process of evaluation. Because DG is telling us the tender, you see, it's what is the requirements in the tender document, which were wrong. The process was not wrong. It's what was in the, how you came up with the document, the contents in that document, which I think ZPP is telling us you made people not eligible to come and participate, and then you awarded them. So what were we doing as a ministry? Honorable Wamnyima, then Honorable Mwila.
Chair, my question is to the controlling officer, perhaps going to the procurement through the controlling officer. Chair, every year there is an omission on fertilizer procurement. PS Technical, every year you are appearing. Ever since I was elected, you've been appearing. What is wrong with your procurement? What is wrong? Why do they omit? Here, Chair, they have a query. They awarded Agrisam and FETSIT. With, you know? No, I mean, but it's part of the initiative. They have a query here. While we're interrogating composition of committee, they have continuous queries here. So me, I just want to understand, because Chair, I think we've dealt to the ministry for too long. We need to understand what happens, because I think procurement of fertilizer is not something that's all of a sudden it's an emergency. You know that when you are supposed to procure. So, PS, what is wrong with your procurement? What happens? Why do you have every year you are here?
Thank you, Honorable Mwila.
Chair, I think on this we need to be serious with what we are doing. The head of procurement through the controlling officer, I think, should even withdraw that statement of saying there was an omission. Chairperson, the ZPP Act, which the head of procurement must understand like the back of his palm, it's very clear on the modes of procurement. Here, section 37, it has from A up to N. I don't know how this. There is open national bidding, open international bidding, open national selection, limited bidding. Everything is categorized. So for them to even pick on this open national bidding, which is A, they could have gone to B, they could have gone to C, but they picked, meaning the whole ministry knew exactly what they were doing, even when they were picking on open national bidding. That is why further now, we find that they abandoned this after they were direct to council. They went to direct bidding. They knew very well. So we can't accept that submission that there was an omission. No, 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 no. That should just be withdrawn. Let's deal with real business. Let's deal with the real cause of this problem. We deal with it than to say there was an omission. It's unacceptable, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, through PS head procurement, like that note is enough. Already as we proceed to Agrizam and fetch it, like Honorable Wamnima said, again you used the wrong document. If you remember when you used again a wrong solicitation document to direct bid. From this one, mistake. So we don't know how genuine now that PS mistake is, because even when you direct bidded, when we questioned you last December, you said it was ascertained that you used the wrong documentation. The document for the direct bidding is different. That's what was submitted before this honorable committee. So through PS, I want before whoever is coming in, head of procurement, I want you to withdraw a statement. There's no omission. Omission is not there. Like Honorable Mwila is saying, let's deal with real business issues. Maybe we don't know what's happening, but issue of omission, I think, needs to be withdrawn. Then the gentleman who wants to comment can comment. So head of procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members, for that guidance. I withdraw that statement for omission. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can proceed, sir, and make your submission.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to know to clarify on how we prepare the bidding document or association document. The association document is guided by ZPPA Act, Section 14. The associated document is issued by ZPPA Section 14, and we use a
Please introduce yourself again, your name, and then proceed with that.
My name is Mwenda Hamatimba. I'm a senior procurement officer. Yes. No procurement entity is preparing its own standard bidding document. We are guided by the ZPPA Act on Section 14. They issue the standard bidding document that we used. So the standard bidding document that we used then, it did not specify who is a Zambian citizen. Maybe it could be where this... it did not specify who is a Zambian citizen. It simply said eligible bidders may participate in this particular tender. So this associated document is not created or done by anybody. It's a standard bidding document that we use. The whole entire government as a chair.
Thank you. ZPPA now you are challenged because they are saying they use according to Section 14, and all those things you are telling them, they are not in the document. So through PS, I don't know who's going to own which. Because now there's that contestation that is your document ZPPA. You are the one who guides them. So we want to hear a comment and then we make progress, because I don't think we are getting anywhere on this item, honorable colleagues. Honorable Mfarari, yes.
Chair, I think we seek progress now. I think the observations by the auditors on A, B, C, D are all valid, and if they are valid and they actually spoke to what went wrong at the ministry, then we have a challenge. And these were just observations, and they were not even queried. Maybe the query arises on some of the other issues that we are seeing ahead of in page 7, I think that's where the query is. This other whole thing, actually, I think we were maybe trying to understand what is there, but otherwise, Chair, this is not the query. maybe the query is what is following.
Thank you. Honorable, the contestation mostly we are having, you honorable members, you bear me witness, is when we are in the House and the ministry, we are trying to find out how it saved money through procurement. There are always delays. I think that's why we were laboring on this issue. Why do you delay as a ministry? Why is this back and forth? Because this back and forth, even the last farming season, the query is coming. It's the same pattern, Honorable Mfarari. So I think that is our worry as a community. Why should we have this year in, year out, late inputs? Even as far as on Monday, there was a matter of public agents' importance on fertilizer being delivered now. Those are some of the concerns we are having. And we are looking at government losing money. We don't know if it's on purpose that they should be back and forth, money is lost. How do we then mitigate that? I think that's why ZPPA are here. And there's that submission from the senior procurement that it's not their document, and it just says eligible bidder. So who's eligible? Because you've categorically told us there is a local bidder who doesn't qualify, and basically, so I don't know, maybe when we proceed to the direct bidding, there are also certain qualification, who's local, who's internal, who should not qualify. And now we don't understand, DG. So maybe just clarify that point, like Honorable Mfaraya said, we make progress and we make recommendations, because this PS should not happen again. And we make recommendation that it should not happen again. I think that is now the way we are going to proceed, because we are not going to have business as usual. Like Honorable Wamnyima said, this year is agriculture, fertilizer, this year it's like we are failing to master the art to just procure fertilizer. Or maybe it should be recommended that the procurement of this fertilizer should go to local government, because they are doing it better than agriculture. And you concentrate on your agriculture policies and other things as it were, because we're having issues. We are losing money. DG, your last comment on what has been submitted, then we make progress.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe a point of correction under it's difficult to pronounce. This is a citizen bidder, so I retract the first submission that they were a local bidder. Then secondly, the issue of eligibility. I think it's not us to, Section 89 is very clear about eligibility. And in the tender that was at hand, like I remember to say, 39A is very clear, which they based it on. And in our letter, we actually observed the issue of them not adhering. They actually used a repealed act. In our letter, which PS Mbozi acknowledged having received, we, under 3 on page 10, we had said in the notice of the best evaluated bidder for the tender issued on 19th August 2022, the ministry was making reference to the provisions of the repealed Public Procurement Act number 12 of 2008 and the Public Procurement Regulations 2011. These seemingly simple mistakes have the potential to bring the public procurement system into ridicule and dispute. You are therefore advised to ensure that all citations relating to the Public Procurement Regulatory Framework are from the Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020 and the Public Procurement Regulations number 2022. So those are some of the issues that we actually observed. So like we are saying, the standard bidding documents may be issued to them, but then they know the procurement method to use. And we don't have to say for this, you do this. Local bidder, it's in the Act. Citizen bidder, it's in the Act. Foreign bidder, it's in the Act. So, and eligibility is there under Section 89. So it was up to them to apply those sections. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Wamnyima. Last.
Chair, in fact, the submission from the officer here is unacceptable. We must withdraw it. It is dead ab initio. From arrival, he was talking things you can't accept. He chose to say we follow standard codes section 14. The other one is not interested. You cannot decide which law which section you follow in the act. So let him withdraw it. We can't accept that. For as long as we have officers coming here to justify failures of following the law, we won't accept it. And the chair, they must know that this is the last time we're accepting them before this committee to come here and say I chose to follow standard when this act is one act of 2020. So let him withdraw, Chair.
The one who made that submission, can you withdraw that statement accordingly? And please do not mislead us. I've repeatedly given caution through your PSCs who are before you. Do not mislead us. You can proceed and withdraw the statement.
Thank you, Chair. The statement is withdrawn, Chair. I submit.
Thank you. PSC, we need befitting answers, and we don't want people who are coming to justify an EU. Because if we start naming them before this committee, it won't look good. And there was a bit of protest that we had earlier insinuated that some officers were incompetent, which for sure they were incompetent. So we don't want to start using that statement. So we beg that we have people, a wrong is a wrong. You cannot apply a law selective to say this one yes, this act no, this one yes, this one no. What is wrong is wrong. And your ministry, the 2PS, is not improving on this matter of fertilizer. So if it's not improving, we'll give you a solution as a committee, because ST is coming on Tuesday. We'll give you a solution. And if all matters being equal, we'll invite the Secretary to Cabinet to come also, so that we give the position, because we are tired. We can't have business as usual. We are tired. We want to make progress. We are tired of this back and forth, same reasons, same assurances every year, and no improvement. So, honorable colleagues, if it comes to that, we need to invite Secretary to Cabinet to come. Then we give our resolution, and we want him to implement those our recommendations and be implemented without fail, because we are getting tired. Let's make progress. We have not concluded PSC's issue. We still want that best made to come here. Let's proceed, honorable colleagues, to the issue of Agrisam and FETSID. Issue of direct bidding. So, ZPPA, what qualifies direct bidding? Maybe you can help us just as a preamble. We understand why now the ministry had to proceed to direct bid. What reasons did they give after giving you a wrong documentation, wrong criteria, picked wrong people, and then now they come back and say, we want to direct bid from their own negligence? You can proceed, DG. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think Section 46 of the Act, Public Procurement Act, does stipulate what direct bidding, the circumstances where direct bidding can be used. And I don't know, Chair, can I read?
No, I think our question is, what reason did they give which qualified now them after making their own mistake that they should be allowed to direct bid? Maybe that's what we want to understand.
Thank you, Chair. In this case, by then we had already issued a circular to say direct bidding, and no objection for direct bidding would be done by the relevant approvals authority. So it was done through the Ministerial Procurement Committee. But one of the reasons is emergency.
Honorable colleagues, emergency. It's like we don't know when we need to procure fertilizer, so it becomes an emergency. So the Ministerial Tender Committee now gives approval, and the reason was emergency. Is that right?
I'll not say the reason. It talks about urgent or emergency under Section 46B, due to an emergency or urgent need. And I'm saying an urgent need or emergency in the sense that by the time this tender was cancelled, September, it was time for the inputs to have moved. And if they had gone to the open bidding method, so to say, it was not going to be feasible in the sense that it takes about 4 weeks to float the tender, then you evaluate, you give the notice of the best evaluated bidder, which is about 10 days. That is a standstill period where an aggrieved bidder can actually come to the authority to appeal, and then if there's an appeal, the tender has to be suspended until the appeal is disposed of, which the Act provides about 10 working days. So, and it's dependent on the time that somebody has been debriefed. So in short, they chose a method that was going to be more feasible for them to deliver the fertilizer on time. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, we're on this item. Who's through the PS administration, who's the chairperson of Ministerial Tender Committee? They can also make us understand the one or two issues. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The chairperson of the MPC is a PS in charge of administration currently.
Honorable colleagues, questions? Honorable Wamnyima.
Chair, we moved to Agrizam and FETSIT.
Yes, it's on now. Those are the direct bidding. We're on direct bidding, and there are issues emanating on Agrizam. On the following page, it's the same because they are under direct bidding, so we are looking at the same item. I just wanted us to have a preamble on how they came up with what necessitated direct bidding to be qualified, which the DG ZPP has said. But maybe from the Ministry of Agriculture, through the chairperson of the Ministerial Tender Committee, tell us now what reason necessitated for this direct bidding. We've heard from ZPP, now you are the owners. We want to hear from you. Then Honorable Wamnyima, you proceed to ask that question. Thank you. PS admin or PS technical can proceed. Honorable Mfarari.
In this case, I think the time, I don't know, I stand to be corrected. I think we have the PS technical who was alive to the facts that we're obtaining on the ground. I think it would be important we categorically ask the PS technical who was there and maybe run us through on how they arrived at coming up with direct bidding so that we get the gist of the whole matter.
Thank you. PS technical can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if I will say anything different, Chair. I mean, if you look at our letter of instruction or the directive that after the appeal of the processes against the processes that had gone, came to us on the 9th of September to advise us to cancel that process. And when you cancel the process, I think you look at the remaining lead time for the provision and distribution of the inputs. And I think, like explained by the DG, it's not a preferred way in terms of competitiveness, but I think we are looking at the time that we were remaining with. I think that was the best available method that was available for us to use. It's not the preferred one. It doesn't give us the best options in terms of saving the money and so forth. It doesn't give you the best suppliers at all. But I think under the circumstances, with the time that we were remaining with, I think that's one of the best options that we were remaining with. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, PS Technical. Honorable members. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, we are here because two of the best evaluated bidders were found to be wanting through the audit process. They didn't meet the evaluation criteria, AgriZam and FedSeed. The last time we requested to look at the evaluation report, which is in the bundle of evidence under Appendix 2, and I've looked at it. Now, Chairperson, the reasons these were highlighted was because from the page 7 of the submission, under AgriZam did not meet the evaluation criteria in that the financial capability was not availed in the bidding document, financial capability in terms of submitting financial statements, and also proof of available financial resources. They didn't meet that. Also, they didn't meet the proof of having successfully supplied the fertilizer input. Now, Chairperson, the questions I have are actually arise on the evaluation report, which is attached under Appendix 2, because it is not numbered, this page, but under Appendix 2, we have preliminary evaluation 5.1. which is table 4. So under table 4, which continues on the next page, still 5.1, we have financial capability, where it is stating that bidders shall show proof of having available financial resources, lines of credit, letter of comfort, and all those things. Chairperson, when you look at the markings on this evaluation criteria, it's why, meaning, yes, they met this criteria. Financial capability was met according to this report. But the audit finding is telling us that on financial capability, I'm back to page 7, financial capability, both AgriZam and FedSeed failed. It's none. But the report which is attached under Appendix 2, it is saying yes, 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 yes. So this is disputing the audit finding. And I would like controlling officer to guide us. The report you have attached under Appendix is saying yes, but the auditors picked that they didn't meet this. So what are we discussing then before we can go to the other findings? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mwira. PS Technical, or Honorable Mai, you have a question?
Just in addition, Mr. Chairman, maybe during DAP, whether this matter was discussed between the Ministry and the Auditor General. If yes, where was the misunderstanding coming from?
Thank you, Honorable Mai. PS Technical, there's a question there from Honorable Mwira and Honorable Mai on those documents which you have presented in Appendix 2. Your submission is that AgriZam and FedSeed, they met the criteria. The query is that they did not meet. Maybe you can guide.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I've noticed that, and what usually happens is when the evaluation committee sits and makes recommendations, questions such as these ones that are being raised are normally raised. And I could not recall, however, what I've noticed is I think our inability by the Secretariat to correct or put the reasons that makes the MPC approve such recommendations in the absence of, in the presence of these anomalies that you are noticing here. So I wanted to ask the head procurement what was the reason for this, before I continue giving the response I submit, Chair.
Thank you. And before the procurement comes in, if my memory serves me right, I think the submission was that the evaluation committee decided to waiver, and I think you read the section before this committee to say you decided to waiver this. And I think the question also to members was, these are one of the most important requirements even in your tender evaluation document. And how do you decide to waiver the core issues of the entire documentation? I think that's what was arrived at as a committee. So I think PS you are referring to head procurement, right? Head procurement, you can proceed with that submission from your PS.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through the PS, indeed, like submitted in the previous meeting, under Agrisam, it's showing that it's none in terms of the financial capability and to submit financial statements for the last 2 years. What happened was the evaluation committee had considered these issues case by case. So when they considered the one for Agrisam in their bid had submitted the document from their supplier. The supplier who had mentioned that they would make available inputs, I think to a tune of about 70,000 metric tons. So Eastern Province, where Agrisam was proposed to supply, the total tonnage for compound D and urea, the total is 58,000 metric tons. So on that basis...
Before I proceed, head of procurement, hold on. ZPPA, we want your help. In your document, there's a requirement for financial capability, financial statement. Then you rely on a letter from a third party who says, I can give you fertilizer worth this much. Is that admissible?
Even at what level, because they were not yet done with the procurement process, at what level did is it the supplier or an agent said that I'm going to give you fertilizer? Because in the first place, this company did not qualify. So at what stage did that person say, I'm able? And at what stage did they suggest that Agrisam can be given Eastern Province?
Yeah, because what I'm saying, so, even in the document, then state that you can either give us financial statements for 3 years or a letter from a supplier to say they can give you the fertilizer. Then we'll say, fine, that's okay. But if all of them, they've given you financial statement, then you come and waiver on a certain person that, because the supplier has given us a letter that you supply, it's not admissible, the head of procurement. That's why even Auditor General picked it to be an issue, because it cannot be. I want ZPPA to give us a comment on that. ZPPA can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think in the evaluation, there is what the document clearly stated that financial capability, and this is on page 7 of this document. Financial capability, submit financial statements for the last 2 financial years. So I think it's it's clear that it was supposed to be 2 financial years. So, and that is why we are saying that some of the things that we found were issues of introducing a criteria which is not in the tender document, because that's an irregularity. I submit.
Thank you. DG, very well said. So now we have an irregularity now in the direct bidding, which is also supposed to be cancelled, because there's an irregularity, just like you did on the first one. There was an irregularity, it was cancelled. There's an irregularity in this now direct bidding, which also needed to be cancelled, as it were, because which means the ministry also was not doing it right. They were now introducing their own criteria, like you've rightly put it. How do you say we use a letter when in your document it says, I agree with you, DJ. How do you say we use a letter from a supplier when in your document it says financial statements? I don't know. I want a comment from PS on this one, but before that there's a hand from Honorable Mwamba. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to understand the logic. In the open national bid, there was 10 companies shortlisted, contract cancelled. Then now, in the direct bidding, you end up with 5 companies, which you take 2 that do not even qualify, yet you have a list of 10 that have passed the that have passed the test, but then you opt to leave them out. What is the logic behind that? And then through you, Chairperson, ZPPA said it was an emergency. In an emergency, wouldn't you pick more?
Yes.
So that you you deliver quicker instead of less? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Maybe PS, I don't know if there's any comment on these submissions, because we are finding it difficult to comprehend what the ministry did to come up with its own criteria, as it were, for these cited companies. PS, if there's a comment, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think what the Honourable Member is saying, that should have been the case where you actually split into smaller lots so that it's quicker to deliver in the shortest possible time. But at the time, I think there was an attempt also to do some quick stock checking with a few suppliers, and I want to believe that the procurement committee, I think, had undertaken some stock taking exercise and document verification, which was pointing to the fact that these were the companies that had the largest quantities, and it was believed that from these would quickly deliver the inputs that we wanted. Otherwise, I think what the member is saying really, for us, that should have been the best possible solution. I submit.
Thank you. Before Honorable comes in, for me, PS and ZPP and colleagues, I think there's even no need to have a tender. There's no need to have a tender in this aspect. And this tender is just to authenticate or try to make things look right. There's no need to have a tender, because you just go, this one has got to give us, this one has got to give us, because then there's no need for a tender, and there's no need for us even to be banging our heads to deliberate on these issues, because what is being done is people are just usurping the law and just do things because I think there's this new criteria and all that. Honorable Mwamba, you can comment.
Just the right on your comment. It's actually unfortunate that if you look at the shortlisted companies, why did you even labor to have the process when you knew that there was companies that had the product in the country? Most of these companies did not even bother to apply or to file in the tender documents. But at the end of the day, you cancel the tender and go and pick on people that feel they can just do it out of the blue Because you should have gone back to the same process. Even the open bidding should have gone to people that qualified. But yet you decided now to look at stocks. These companies, most of them did not even apply. What logic was being applied and why was that done? Because you might as well not even tender, waste people's resources to put in documents, to get bank guarantees, and yet you know what the end result is going to be.
Thank you. If there's an answer for that question, but maybe I would want to hear also from the observer, our colleague from DEC, these things emanating from this evaluation, and you as an observer, especially from a law enforcement agency. We have the ministry shortchanging their own criteria. I don't know if you have any input or anything to say. I don't know. We just want for you to say something. If not, it's fine. If you can say something, Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, my observation on some of these audit queries. I think Honorable Umai indicated earlier on that what was so difficult to explain what was on the ground to the auditors. Because I don't know, controlling officer and your team, why you are failing to put us to speed in terms of what you are dealing with based on your response here. Why are you failing to tell us how you got to this stage? Because this is where we are. And we got here because of system failure. Somehow, somewhere, things were not adding up and you kept on going back and forth. Why don't you come out openly to indicate to the committee what the predicament was, and so that we can close this matter? I think we have stayed for some time now over this matter. But my request to the controlling officer is, could we just run us through what really was going on here? Because otherwise, I think we'll keep on going around circles. The truth of the matter is you delayed. You went up to 9th September. And the season is right in your... People started planting and plowing. And yet the fertilizer had not yet started moving. So if this query, why couldn't you just deduce or produce documents that were speaking to your failures in the system, so that this could have been corrected at the audit stage? But now it comes here again. It looks like no one is explaining properly why we are here.
Honorable Mfarari, they cannot explain. This is our own making. They did the wrong procedure. They go to direct bidding. And where's PS administration? I think honorable colleagues, I propose that this submission, this reason should be withdrawn. This is a lame excuse. The one that are saying no, they cancelled. Then on September 2022, suppliers were required to submit bids on Thursday 13th by 16 hours. By less than 24 hours, that's a lame excuse. That one, we need to take it off. It's a lame excuse. We don't even need that one. That's a lame excuse. You cannot bring that to this committee. We just need the befitting answer. Not that, because those are your processes. You messed up yourselves. It's not Auditor General. This, we need to see how we manage PS. We need to streamline. We've told even the minister in the House, streamline your procurement process. The country can save funds. We need to streamline it. What we are doing is not correct at all, and we don't seem to be mitigating it or correcting it. It's just getting worse day by day, time by time. So when PS admin comes, Honorable Gulimi, I want to throw this statement. It's a lame excuse. We cannot admit this submission. Auditor General, do you have any? So I want that withdrawn. Honorable colleagues, any questions? Honorable Umai.
Mr. Chairman, just like Honorable Mufalali has said, you know, Mr. Chairman, the way they have come, these officers here, there are those who are learning these things in this committee room. And a person like me would obviously sit down and say, for someone to be given a tender without documentation worth 37 million, without financial capacity, it is something which is painful. And getting these answers, it is making us as a committee get more confused and more sad than we were yesterday. And the answers which we are getting from the ministry, Mr. Chairman, further they are making us to get to Indian Ocean and ask the fathers, the assistants, what do we do? Therefore, like Honorable Mufalali has stated, it will be better for the ministry to just tell this committee that we have accepted our wrongdoings, because we are convinced, Chair, that everything they did was wrong. And even themselves, they cannot point at the chair, honorable, any member in this committee, so they were on us, but everyone has seen that they were wrong. So maybe it would be better for them to tell this committee what transpired, what made them leave people who had financial capacity to go, for people who didn't have resources, so that we can close this chapter, because it appears it is something they knew from day one what they were doing.
Thank you, Honorable Lumai. Honorable Wamima.
Chair, the ministry requested to resubmit, and they have resubmitted what they initially submitted, which I find very unacceptable on this issue. What they have brought on Appendix 2 was what was in their first submission. To come here and say FETSID, what they qualified, then as they are now, verbally they are contradicting their written submission. So I don't really understand PS technical. I don't know where the controlling officer, is the ministry taking this committee seriously for you to come back with ticks on yes, 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 yet verbally you contradict yourself? I don't really understand, Chair, why we have to receive a resubmission and you do a different verbal submission. We need clarity on what this is all about. You want to protect yourself on paper and verbally give a contradictory submission.
Thank you. Where's the chairperson of this evaluation committee? Yeah, the one who chaired this one now. There are those issues, maybe you can react to some of them through your PS. But I think eminently I don't know where PS admin has gone, maybe she'll be coming back. She's coming back. Those questions should be rephrased, and I think Honorable Lumai and Honorable Mfalari has given us some good interventions. I think we just need to own up as a ministry, and then we start making some progress, because we don't seem to be telling us what is befitting. Like Honorable Mnima said, on your submission there you've got your ticks, then again you come back. Doesn't work like that. The chair of the evaluation committee, why did you award Agrizam and FETSID yet they didn't have prerequisite qualifications?
Thank you, Chair. I wouldn't want to sound like I'm justifying. I think the observations are very correct that have been made, but I think maybe it would be good to appreciate the pressure under which we are working due to time. And so one of the key questions that were asked in this evaluation was where the inputs were as we were interviewing the bidders. So these that were selected had inputs most
Mr.
of
Chairman,
the inputs
point of
already
order.
in the country.
Mr. Chairman, the director on the floor, like I stated, Mr. Chairman, that we are at pains listening to this report. It's actually disappointing. Sitting here, listening to the director saying the committee should understand the pressure we are in. Pressure, you leave companies with resources, you go for companies without resources and you call it pressure. I think, Mr. Chairman, the witness on the floor must take that into consideration as he makes his submission.
Chairman, that's why I was...
Sorry, it's only me who allows people to speak. I think there's no amount of pressure you are going to justify your conduct as a ministry. There is no amount of pressure. And honorable colleagues, I beg that we move. Look at, let the PS come. Then we see how much we can, how much we can cover if we don't finish Monday. But I want to appeal to you that as we wind up, maybe on Monday we can do a letter to Secretary to Cabinet to come as well, so that we can make certain recommendation which can be done immediately, because we can't proceed like this. Honorable Farage.
My view on the submissions that come from ministries normally is, first of all, we would want to have a submission that is objective and that that is actually in tandem with the law. Now, I still repeat myself. On one hand, what I see from the ministries, a failure by those who are involved in technical issues to come out and be able to make the presentation to the Auditor General's office upon them visiting their offices to justify some of the decisions that they made. And when you fail to justify your decisions, you will definitely be knocked out. And you come here. Under what circumstance do you weather? Maybe the DG could tell us. How do you weather a position? Are you allowed, are you within the law? Do you have a provision where you can weather so that you are set free? Do you have such a justification based on what the ministry submitted from those who are involved in this procurement? That is one. Two, why did, through your controlling officer, why did your technical staff fail to avail to you the necessary requirements or necessary documents than for us to come and start sitting here, see letters come round and so forth? To me, again, that's a sign of, I don't want to use the word which people don't want. It's a sign of incompetence, because you must be competent. You must be able to do your job. You don't have to come here and we start looking at it. Why didn't the officers give some of the letters that the senior, the permanent secretaries are seeing here, coming around now to say these are the letters that, why didn't they say it was an audit query? It should have been sorted out at the ministry itself. You sit and you say, PSC, this is what we did, this is what we did. And then even when the PSC is responding to those queries, he is well informed than for us to come and sit here. I submit, Chair.
PS administration, we're waiting for you. The submission for honorable colleagues that, and also as well as myself, with all this wrongdoing by your ministry, we just want you to tell us what transpired and own up. Because even what Honorable Mfarari is saying, you came up with your own document and you put prerequisite qualification to your own document. Then you go back on your own document and waiver and remove, replace. You come up with your own criteria through your evaluation committee, which we don't understand. How do you, the same law I create, I go and assert it against, okay, I'm creating a new one now, let's remove, let's replace this. It doesn't work like that. These are government resources. It doesn't work. Under what pressure you have, You cannot usurp the law. You cannot create your own criteria. No, that is not allowed. And no level of justification PS will have that allowed. No. And we don't want that to continue going forward. No. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Let's call it wrong and let's do it right. It's better we do it right. We cannot justify, no matter the reason, we cannot justify what is wrong. ZPP has told us. That's why they even cancelled the earlier one. We labored. We questioned ZPP. You were here yourselves. Ministry has said this. Why did you cancel? Then again on the direct bidding, you do the same thing. Then what are we doing as a ministry? Do we come up with our own rules, regulations? I don't understand. So, Honorable Mfarari, I don't think there's anything which would justify them wavering, doing. They have no justification.
Maybe the director could answer that question, which there's somewhere where I'm trying to get to, because I want to understand something here.
DG, there's that question. Maybe before you proceed, Honorable Mwamba.
Chairperson, I think there is also something that the committee has overlooked. Here it says recommended for the award of 6 bidders. On the list, they've only included 5 because the 6th one is NCZ. Now, when you look at the state of NCZ with obsolete machinery, how does the ministry expect NCZ to deliver that fertilizer? Can we please have the status of NCZ and why it was omitted from the 5 to make up the 6 that you said were awarded? I submit, Chair.
Thank you, DG. There's a question from Honorable Mfarari. Then PS, you answer the 2 questions from Honorable members, which they said we need to make progress. DG, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable, the regulations under Section 99(1) do give guidance on the responsiveness of a bidder. So under that, there's also the issue of you as an evaluation committee looking at whether something is a minor deviation or a major deviation. But under Section 99(1)(c), which I'll read, it clearly says, maybe let me just start from 3. A material deviation, reservation, omission shall be 1 which affects in any substantial way the scope, quality, or performance of the goods, works, or services, just to give context, or services specified in the solicitation documents. May limit in any substantial way the procuring entity's rights or bidder's obligation under any resulting contract, or may be inconsistent with the solicitation document. Then C, this is where I draw the attention of this House. If corrected, may unfairly affect the competitive position of other bidders presenting substantially responsive and compliant bids. So in this case, we saw that the criteria to for every bidder to have 2 years financial statements was clearly stated. So it could not be waived as a minor deviation. I submit.
That's what Honorable Mfarari was saying. And even in the last submission here, we debated it. Financial capability cannot be a minor deviation. It's material, with issues of materiality. So they cannot, it's critical. They cannot remove that and say it's a minor deviation. That is not right. That's not correct. PS admin, your comment will make progress. Honorable Wamnyima.
I think the PS wasn't there. We are requesting to you.
Sorry, there's also a question from Honorable Mwamba. I forgot. Then Honorable Wamnyima can proceed.
PS, the submission needs to be withdrawn. Where you are saying the ministries ensured the suppliers that were awarded contracts were compliant to the solicitation document. They were not compliant. And this appendix 2 you've put, you are indicating that Agrism and FETSEED, they had financial. You are ticking yes. So this is, you are misleading the committee. for the second time. You pleaded to go redo the submission. You've brought the same thing. So we beg that this is withdrawn, because your procurement there has made a different submission, verbal submission, which is on record, because this is we are being recorded here. So, Chair, for me, I think that this is what needs to be done as the procedure of our sittings. And also, perhaps we could also just understand the PS what we do with this, because we don't understand this. To come here and say we're resubmitting and you resubmit the same thing.
Thank you. Actually, Honorable Amnima, is starting from page 7. The entire cause should be taken out. The corrective, all this should be taken out. It should be withdrawn. We cannot admit this submission of no 16 hours by 20. That's a lame excuse. Honorable Miller, can proceed.
Yes, Chair, in augmenting, that point of withdrawing, even this appendix 2, we must have a proper appendix to support the position here, because I've seen a lot of anomalies in this attached evaluation report. First of all, this table 4, where they have said financial capability complied, which is contrary to the finding. The next, Chair, we have read these evaluation reports before, and we understand, for example, where you have NA, which is not applicable, you are supposed to explain what is not applicable, because on table 4, the second page, they have only explained on bidder number 2 who was not applicable. Not applicable because they are a new company and also did not need a manufacturer authorization. So they've only explained 1 not applicable, when there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not applicable. So we need to understand NA for each bidder, for each criteria, why is it not applicable. The next, Chair, on table 6, which is dealing with the technical specifications, D compound. If you look at this D compound technical evaluation under bidder number 1, everything in that column is not applicable, and yet bidder number 1 is actually one of the problematic. It's agrism, I think. But then technical evaluation is saying not applicable. Did they not meet all these technical criteria, which is even very critical, in fact. So NA means what? There is no explanation why bidder number 1, they are not being evaluated on the technical compliance, on all the criteria.
Thank you. Honorable Farari. Honorable Mura, can switch off. Yes, Honorable.
My insistence on ensuring that sometimes when the staff, technical staff, are submitting to a committee, that they should sit down with the controlling officer, is very, very critical. Even here, I don't know whether the controlling officer is following or these technical staff are following. There are 2 things that are happening here. The evaluation report that we have here is talking about the 10 that were shortlisted. And we are mixing it, I think. Even when the DG was answering, I was questioning him on the 6, is it the 6 whatever, who were shortlisted. Those which were shortlisted for that evening, as they are saying, that they brought their documents in the evening, and in the morning they were supposed to be evaluated. Now, I'm wondering, I think why didn't the ministry sit down to analyze these things properly? Because we are mixing two things. The other one, where the evaluation was done and they shortlisted based on what they were finding in the documents. And the other one, which actually tells us that actually this agrism and these other people, they didn't make the presentation when you met them to bring the documents that evening. So we are mixing things, and I think it's very important that I think as they sit, they do the right thing. Otherwise, they will be contradicting what is on the document.
Thank you. My understanding, the Appendix 2, they've brought evaluation report for the 10, evaluation report for the direct bidding, isn't it? So there's the direct bidding, there's a 10 which was cancelled, and the evaluation report for that because they had awarded and then cancelled. So in that, in this submission, there are all these emanating from the first one, which they cancelled, then the second one, which they direct bidded. I don't know if I'm correct. Is that the position, PS, or you've just because Honorable Mwila was looking at Agrism on direct bidding, where he's saying even the financial yes, while they did not comply.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's why for me I'm saying it would have been very important to run the PS through. The ministry, when they requested that they go back and look at the documents, they promised that they were going to do a good job. And it was very, very important. If they never sat, they should have gone through together. What are these yes? Where, because first of all you shortlisted 10. Then you went to now to go and pick what was those who qualified. Whether you are 6. Now, in this document that you are giving us, where you are putting yes, which document is this? Maybe if we could ask like that, so that the person who brought this document could guide us. Otherwise, I think we'll look, I don't know. Because yes to what? To the 10 shortlisted who you shortlisted, and you went through them, then you had the documents that you wanted. From there, now you can run us through to the next stage where there was now a missing bank statements that you wanted.
Through PS, you can proceed, and let's look at your Appendix 2. Let's just run us through quickly Appendix 2 so that for members' benefit. Appendix 2, you tell us the first one is for which one, the second one just for clarity, and also clarify the yes, if it's for who, it's under which one, because so that we can just have clarity. Because if I look at this is Appendix, just a second, Appendix 2. The first one is minutes on the 19th Ministerial Procurement Committee of 2022, held virtually, actually. So this virtual one, we are looking at the people who direct bidded, right? Because I've seen Agrism, I've seen FedSeed, isn't it? Okay? So this is the first one, the one you had virtually. Done. This is a ministerial tender. Next one to the, this is to Minister of Justice, I think for your Attorney General. Then this evaluation report now follows as a third document or fourth. This is for the direct bidded or which one? Maybe just also clarify that one. Please clarify. I don't want to do your job.
Thank you, Chair. On Appendix 2, the first document is minutes for the Ministerial Procurement Committee held virtually, which was to do with the delivery and distribution of 259,000 metric tons of urea and compound D for 2022-2023 farming season. This is what is there. And then after this one, then comes the table 1, which is an allocation of quantities, where we can see compound D and urea and the companies that were involved. Then we move to the next page where we have a table 2 which says read out the prices, and below it is evaluation. Table 3 says evaluation committee members, and then we move to the next page where...
So evaluating committee members for which tender? The direct bidding, that's what I think we need to clarify.
This was appointed, the evaluation committee, which sat on the 13th September to undertake the evaluation of the 5 bids received. So this was for
the direct bidding. It's direct bidding. You can see the companies now, yes. Direct bidding. Then from there, there's ZPPA documentation. Then this other one, we don't know it's for what.
Then we move to 5.1, which says preliminary evaluation for compound D and urea fertilizer for 2023 farming season, where now I think the grading of the bidders starts from. Format and content, we can see all the entire criteria that they were using to grade the bidders, and then we move to the next table 6 there, which was technical evaluation for compound D fertilizer. And then we have table 7 there. And it goes on, Chair, like that. It may take a bit of time, but what I would have loved is, because these documents are usually compiled by procurement and brought to us in the conference room to go through. So when they are binding, sometimes they could have maybe switched, but I don't want to believe that. But they are the best place to explain these tables, because they're the ones that put and grade. But now, coming to the actual issue where you find a person who did not qualify, eventually this side turns out to be the person who is carrying the day or things like that, is what remains to be discussed. Because certainly it's not, it shouldn't be acceptable. It's something that one must just straight away say, look, how do you arrive at giving this person? Because then you are saying ZPPA has read out to us what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. What is a minor deviation, or what is a major issue. So if they are saying, take for instance, when a person does not show the financial capacity, you can't call it a minor thing. You call it a major. Certainly they must be disqualified and they must not be talked about. So there are no two ways about it. We are not going to run away from the truth and the fact. A fact must remain a fact. We must just call it a spade is a spade. And if we are going to continue with such, it's very unfortunate. It's quite regrettable. But going forward, we are saying, as a ministry, we need to be much more realistic and serious and not come back with such issues. Because definitely we are going to spend hours on end looking at things that are not somehow making sense. And I don't think that you have the time to sit and listen to things like that. We must just be progressive and accept where there's a wrong, there's a wrong. And we move. I think, Chair, I'm not going to accept where you can clearly, all of us can clearly see that we've been guided. This is not correct. It's not correct. That is it.
Thank you, PS. I think that's what I've seen Honorable Lumai shaking his head. I think that's what we're talking about, because we for me, PS, I totally agree with you. But my take is that I hope and pray we're having a last assurance, because these things have been happening in perpetuity. We'll give you a benefit of doubt now, and we hope to see improvement. But for us as a community, committee, even as we proceed, we want action to be taken. And that's why we are insisting that we will talk to SC also to come, because we are not going to continue in this fashion. We want the ministry to have a robust procurement system, follow the regulations, whoever disqualifies is disqualified, period. No two way about it. And we move forward. And we have justification. Even yourselves, you have justifications as the controlling officers to say, look here, it was in public domain, everybody participated, ZPPA, there's this, these are the guidelines, we move forward. That will be progressive. And we are going to procure on time, I can assure you. Because even ZPPA, when you've done things right, they won't see need to entertain anybody who go there to say, I'm appealing for us to do a cancellation. Unless there's a very eminent issue. But otherwise, this is unacceptable. Honorable Mfarara. The question was not, okay, proceed, then you rephrase so that we can have an answer, then we make progress, honorable colleagues. PS, I think, has submitted. You can proceed, Honorable Honorable
yeah, the question for Honorable Mwamba, I think, on how NCZ was, I think, has not been answered. And the question to the chairman who was in charge of no evaluation. Yes. Now, where did you get these yes things that you put in the report and you brought to your superiors to say this is what is happening? The auditors come on the ground, they find something else. So where were you getting the yes?
Thank you. Through the PS, the chairman for the aforesaid evaluation committee can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think maybe it's flogging a dead horse because I think we've accepted our wrong, Chair. But maybe there are things that were overlooked and maybe we'll do better next time.
The maybe. There is no maybe.
Oh,
there are wrong things you did as a ministry. That's why we are here. And accept you did those wrong things, which now we want moving forward to be mitigated. And not only mitigated, PS, by the word of saying wrong, by action. Action should be meted with people who are usurping the law with impunity, period. That's all. So we accept yes, and we don't want maybe, no. It's wrong. There's something wrong. Honorable Mfarara.
I think I've listened to the chairman behind me here. Chair, the former chairman for the evaluation committee, I would want to urge you to take matters seriously. We cannot spend time here all this afternoon. I can see the posture that you are giving us is one of where we think it's casual. There is no casualty. We don't want to be casualties here. We want to do things seriously. So get this business serious. We cannot come here, make all these people sit here and all of us. Then it becomes casual. It's not casual. I think attach some seriousness to your responses.
So you are guided. That's why I've reacted like that. It's not a business as usual, PS. And please tell your officers, we are here for a serious business. We've sat from morning. People have come out of the parliamentary business. Very important. And this is as equal as a parliamentary business in the chambers. And this should be taken seriously. I hope that is noted through the PS. The question for Honorable Mwamba, then we make progress.
Thank you, Chair. As regards NCZ, Chair, the reason why NCZ has always remained as part of these bidders is partly the issue where there's a policy direction that states that NCZ is a manufacturer. They're a local manufacturer. So there's just no way they'll be left out, regardless of their not being not performing so well. We are trying by all means as government to see how best we can capacitate them by also allocating them something so that there's continued survival of the factory. Otherwise, we can't just say because they have got obsolete machinery and then we must not do with them, we must not bring them on board. It would be certainly killing the thousands of the employees that the company has. But because we are also considerate of the fact that we have Zambians working there and we need to maintain them as well. And the company one day will certainly be recapitalized and it will definitely perform well one day. So we have that policy that says we must at least keep them. They must be part of the business as usual. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. We make progress. There's one issue on this one which is still, we agree your acceptance, and also as a committee we stand that we have recommendations which should be meted with this conduct, but however we will still want the issue of best made to be clarified. Even as we'll be concluding, I know what we won't conclude today, they should come. We should enforce that they come. And ZPP also come. We want to untangle the issue of what transpired so that does not come to happen again. We can proceed, honorable colleagues. Procurement of delivery of seed. There's the issue of failure to follow bidding and evaluation guidelines. The same, farmers ban. The same. Like Honorable Wamnyima said, same submission. The same things which were not complied with by Agrism and FedSeed, financial capability for the last 2 years, and all those issues. And we have a submission that there is limited seat of groundnuts. That is the reason. Honorable colleagues, you can proceed and ask questions on. It's the same, exactly the same like Agrism. So maybe we don't know. Maybe PS, you can just make a submission because the questions are the same. Sure. Yes, Honorable Wamnyima.
For me, I think the question I asked last time, this supplier, there was no evidence that they ever supplied seed inputs, no history, they were just awarded, no financial capability, proof of having financial resources, proof of arrangement for secure storage at district, nothing. So why was the ministry also under pressure here? Since pressure is, has been described as a basis not to follow laid down procurement. Were you under pressure here also?
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Honorable Mufarari, before PS comes in, sorry I was talking to
you. Chair, I just want to find out through the controlling officer to the staff that runs this department. What is attached and what is being queried seem to be contradicting. Did the members of staff who were involved in these two queries, did they have an audience with the Auditor General to sit and explain what they did? Because what is being queried and what the ministry is answering are different to what they have submitted as attachments. On your attachments, you are showing exactly what transpired, that there was proof. But then when you come to responses, some responses tend to be away from what you have submitted or attached. Could we just be guided why this contrast?
PS, you can proceed with those two questions. Maybe PS technical, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The first question I think is only were we under pressure on groundnuts? I wouldn't say really yes, the pressure was there, but I don't think that should be the reason. I don't know in this case how the documentation was prepared because what I know is Farmers Ban is one of our reputable seed suppliers, and they have always come to our rescue actually in every province that we have placed them. So I want to understand that probably there was something faulty with the solicitation document which we might have given, therefore listing such responses as the one we are actually submitting here. And I agree, the way this is presented, it gives the impression Farmers Ban actually is nowhere. It's like it was just picked from nowhere. But otherwise, this has been one of our reputable seed suppliers. What was the other question?
Actually, the other question speaks to the way you format, or the way you, yes, the way you have actually put your document together. In short, I'm saying, yes, you seem to have proof of what you did, and that's why I'm saying, were these technical people who were submitting these documents, were they misleading the seniors by indicating that actually these were there? And then even on answering, they are not giving any stuff. They are not attaching meat to the bone to show where they are coming from and where they are going. And then people start looking at it, or we look at it as something that is. So could you just guide us why you have documents that are showing availability of certain items, and even when you are evaluating, you feel this one, company number 2 is a new company, and because it's a new company, we don't need now to get more details. What is company number 2? What do they do?
Thank you. For me, even earlier, PS, that's why I said, first and foremost, like you've rightly said, the issue of groundnuts, what is a lame excuse, should be taken off and cannot be entertained as it were. Then this, honorable colleagues, it's the same thing like agrism, so it's the same questions, because how do you give someone, first and foremost, we agree is your supplier who has even rescued you, but you have a document which you've said everyone should follow, and I don't see any reason they should fail. Look at even capital fertilizer. You tick, you get everything you get, they provided. But how then should we PS fail to ensure that Farmers Ban provide this? That's why I'm saying it's either laissez-faire, intentional, we just want to do things a wrong way, it's a shortcut, we don't want to follow procedure, because what else can we say? You have a competent supplier who's got everything. He has supplied you before, probably they've tendered before, and they've provided that information. And you just tell them this time, oh, just bring, come, get. This it's okay, we'll give you. It's not business as usual. It's not business as usual. Just like Honorable Mfalari is saying, it's not business as usual. So I don't understand. So I bet honorable colleagues the answers are the same they gave on agrism. There is no answer. An SPSC administration with some submission, or you can answer honorable Mfalari's question, or PS technical. I don't know. Whoever wants to pick up that one. Then we make some progress. I want honorable colleagues us to try and push that. Monday we just look at maybe one item and conclude. Then we deal with DMMU. Tuesday we deal with ST and maybe SC. And if we need to invite the 2 PSCs, they come also when we are concluding, so that we can make certain recommendations. If there is no PS, any submission, nothing, we proceed. Honorable colleagues, questions are not answered. Honorable Mfalari.
Now, you know, and people should take their job seriously. Definitely, if the PS is going to sit here, and the PS maybe the document that is coming from a superior is not speaking to what is being attached. In this case, these attachments. Then heads must roll, because you cannot bring your controlling officer here and then you have not even given me the full picture of what you did. Then you will now come here and we start looking at it and start going around circles. Why should you have such people? Why? Then those who did not do their job, they must be held to account. Period. People should be held to account. I don't think there is any senior person who would want to look disorganized in the eyes of the world. And because I'm saying this because you look at the attachment, there are ticks, but why didn't they answer at the time when the auditors came? Why didn't they indicate to the controlling officer in full detail what they are doing? So that when she comes here, she knows in full detail what was going on. And we have come back, this is the second time, whatever, or third, whatever, over this same. We are promised that you are going to have a proper documentation, we will do the whatever, things will be put together. Now we come back again, things are not put together. What is attached and what is being responded to are not speaking to each other.
Thank you. PS, take note of that before we proceed. Honorable colleagues, please, 5 minutes break. Immunity is lifted. Let's break for 5 minutes and we'll come back.
Zambia. Even saying the word is a multi-sensory experience. It somehow captures something of the essence of this special place in the warm heart of southern Africa. Take in the mighty Zambezi River, the majestic Victoria Falls that form Zambia's natural southern border, and the national parks overflowing with wildlife. Immerse yourself in the fast-growing towns and cities, teeming